is just every day. You'll know what's out there. Isn't that right, Pussy? Don't go look at another one. Concentrate on the one you got. Get him, Puss. And let him get away on you, buddy. She's got this thing. She'll put one paw on the tail and the other paw she'll just stand there, and then she'll start licking it. And she'll be licking this mouse's back. One paw holding the tail. Oh, this is just every day. And she decides to carry it around somewhere else with her mouth. She gets real aggressive, starts throwing them up in the air and everything. And a lot of them, they stop not out of pain, but just out of fear. And you'll see them shaking, they'll be like nervous. See, she actually picked it up then, threw it up, and then it dropped down again. Somebody likes me having junk on the front lawn, that's her, because it makes it more of an obstacle course, makes it more fun to find the mousey. Which you could just kill straight up, but no, stuff that. Nicer for fun, not for food. They're only for food when they stop working. I got so and throws it up in the air. You probably know she's got a collar on. I put a flea collar on her last night. Tabby Cat's got the flea collar and the little Regio tag. Yeah. Fun life for the old pussy cats. She brought in, I think I told you these, she brought in a rat the other night and friggin' dropped it on the bed, and the blood's about to start coming up out in the mouth. And fortunately I had an old sock beside my bed, so I picked it up and put it in the wood heater, but wood heater was died out, and the mouse was already dead anyway, or the rat was already dead anyway, but chuck one outside before, and she's then gone and brought it back inside, and I just think, no, you either eat this shit, or I'm going to dispose of it later and put it in a friggin' wood heater or some damn place they can't get to it, or just walk straight in the kitchen and put it in the bin. Yeah, it's one of these things. During the cold weather here, it's pretty renowned that they all start to migrate into everybody's house, and you'll have bugger all in the summer, and then you'll get heaps in the winter. And she's just catching them, most of them, before they get in here. Woo! Sun is shining. Just trying to drag out some of the stuff I pruned the other night on that stack. We had to go at this stack a while ago, actually. This all come right out to here. See some of the stumps that I tried to re-get going. Bit of green. Yeah, I try to burn this with a bit of petrol, gasoline. Not quite successful, but it wasn't too bad because we burned out this big patch here. And I was just looking at all this here. This is some of the stuff that's dead. There's one of them I think was dead. There's this one here. Because it's all badly rotted. I think it was dead before I even come out and cut any of the others off. It's I cut one off. You can see the little yellow marks. That's the DeWalt blades, painted yellow. Not as good as you'd expect the DeWalt blades. The Milwaukee ones are way better. DeWalt ones are worse than a few brands. Anyway, I was just sort of thinking about all this. I was looking at this heap of shit here. Getting a bit of chipboard on it, and that's obviously rotten. It's about stuffed, so is this. It's going bad. And then the thought occurred to me, like, I know I've got to go and sort through this and this. And with this, there's some, the sort of one there, that sort of, I could still put that through the fire, but there's other ones that would just collapse and all together, you know, like ones like this, which should come out, but they're, oh yeah, I can get that one out here. Some of the ones that are up here, they're underneath stuff. But I'm going to need a place to throw all these. And I thought, well, instead of wind's blowing again, instead of chucking them in there next year, or make another heap out here next year somewhere, which would probably be on top of the existing heap, there was another heap right there originally that I've burnt, and I've thrown all that where the old heap was, so that any of your nails all end up in the same spot. But instead of doing that next year with any of the crap in here, when I sort through this pack and probably this pack, I just throw them on this. And then I can light it up and you get all this half-assed rotten wood, and it should take out the whole lot of this, regardless of spraying it. I probably should come out here with a sprayer. I've got a few to do on the fence line. There's a couple down there going down the hill that I've got to do, and I've got to work out a day to do that too. But it'll burn a lot better if I have a whole heap of this rotten wood out of these poles thrown onto there. I sort of do, like, this is a mix of hardwood and softwood that's barely hanging on, and softwood that's completely buggered, and some of the stuff in here's already ends up there anyway, but a lot of it, you know, it's all mixed through, so I've got to really go right through it. And this here, I don't know what's going on under here. I've got a feeling there's actually a big rabbit warren underneath this as well. I know there's at least one or two rabbit holes underneath this, and a lot of this stuff is thin. It's all floorboards primarily. Some of it has just turned completely to shit and gone rotten itself. Boing, boing. And some of it still has a bit of varnish. But as for the heated hothouse, this would be great to feed through the heated hothouse, which is probably just going to end up being my veranda enclosed a little bit better. And down in amongst here is a lot of chipboard and shit just in this patch, and I've got rid of some of it. A lot of it's only short, like 2 foot long and rotten, and chipboard right there. More rubbish. Yeah, so I've got to sort of go through this. There's copper pipes sometimes thrown underneath all of this, and different bits and pieces. That's shitter line. Yeah, that is. That's 100mm shitter line. I probably should just put that in the bin. I've got a bit of room this week. That might be where it ends up. Yeah, it looks clean, but you know, who really wants shitter line? Funnels, weird stuff like this. There's a lot of other things strapped on, and copper pipes hidden, and yeah, a lot of that sort of all underneath all this. This just come off the back of a blooming truck, and I mean, it off that old red truck sitting over there, and basically he just different renovation jobs, and the guy that he was working for, who I sort of used to be my best mate, he sort of would say to him, well, if you want it, you can have it. And of course, my uncle would have absolutely anything, and it was going to cost him money to get rid of it, because a lot of these are right deep in the capital. And a lot of this stuff you see here is actually out of a car dealership that's right in the capital, selling, well, Peugeots, right in the heart of the flaming capital. So, yeah, he would grab all this stuff into the back of his truck. They might just put it to one side of the building or out the back, and then he'd turn up with his truck and load it all up and come back here and tip it all off. No plan, just it was a freebie and you got to pick it up. And some strange freebies you come across big power line that ran into the building at some point, and they cut it off. The electricians would have cut it off, and it's actually aluminium. And it's bloody big, and it goes underneath and right through to over there. Anyway, like I was saying, it's a bit of 2-inch or 40mm or something. Actually, it's got it written. Yeah, 50mm. Actually, I might have a use for that with this guttering. Yeah. Bit of the bigger copper lines. Get other random shit that doesn't make any sense. Old water pipe, steel water pipe flattened out with lemon solder on it, and see where it's being gripped by Stilsons, and friggin' bits of clothesline with the pegs still on the damn things, and you wouldn't fathom it, would you? Anyway, this is my uncle's way stumps. I've put a few of those through the wood heater already. They're actually pretty good, those stumps. You won't be able to hear it in this microphone, and just been out there moving the last dregs of some of these roses, but the cows, not the ones you seen last time, which is sort of like north of me, but the ones like west of me, owned by somebody else, are going off their frickin' nut. And they're mooing and bellowing, and sometimes when cattle are in diagonally opposite paddocks, they start mooing back and forth at each other. I don't know if it's that. I don't think so, because I can't see the other cows, and there's only a handful of the other cows. There's no one rounding those cows up, and they're all crowded around in the corner. So, sounds as though they've just stopped temporarily, but I might be going on a bloody trip to meet a few more neighbours and tell them that cows are out of water again. We'll just see what eventuates here. I'll just see why they've stopped, because sometimes what they'll do is when someone's coming with food, they'll go just as stupid, because in anticipation of seeing all the food and all this sort of thing and knowing what time of day it is, but no, they've all shut up for now. You can see that line of trees. It's the black down below there. It's about, I don't know, 20, 30 odd cows. Yeah, they've all shut up. I'll keep my ears peeled and we'll see what eventuates. Oh, here we go. Yeah, some guy's riding a bike down the road, he's nothing to do with it. I got a feeling somebody may be doing something with a truck through here or something. I know they're cutting trees over there, and as ridiculous as it sounds, it just may be curiosity of cutting trees. Or a truck coming in and out. A lot of young ones here. It was just out and out curiosity. I found there is actually a water trough. They've got a few trees up further, and there's a trough much the same as the other one over the other, well, almost identical to the one over here, that the other cows have. It's a common brand. It was 3 inches off the top. There is no water issues, so just plain curiosity, you know. They've chopping down a tree further up, and other cows are nowhere to be seen, and they're just interested in it. And they just are a lot more curious than sheep. And somehow a couple of trees going crack crunch is worth getting excited about. It's beyond me, but anyway, it's the way cows go. Alright, couple of pots there. Unfortunately, I sort of realised one was dry, and thought it might be just that one, or for whatever reason didn't bother doing it. I think I had to go to church or something. But the ones out with the silver beet out there got all bloody dry, and I mean bloody dry. You pour water on top and it all looked nice, and you could dig your finger down an inch below. That's as dry as chips. I mean, it was only dry as chips bloody 3/8 of an inch below. And so in the process, I basically repotted them into each other's pots. Got an extra one of the pots from some of the ones that have been eaten or died initially. And yeah, rehydrated and repotted. Son of a bitch. That's just happened. Shit. Oh no. It's a plum tree leaf. Shit. I was a bit worried for a second there. So, funnily enough, the ones, I checked all the ones out there near the solar panels. They're all fine. And I think what's basically happened is, from memory, a lot of the days I water the ones out in front of the solar panels without a problem. And then I completely forget about the ones around here and haven't watered them, and the potting mix has got too dry. Furthermore, it's not really windy at all around where the solar panels are, but out there, because you sort of get into the edges of your paddock and all that, and because you've got the driveway for a big long straight run with nothing there really, except a couple of crappy stacks of wood, they get a lot more wind out there, and the wind helps dry them out. And of course, not watering the bloody things also really may not help the situation. So I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to get these into a drier, calmer place? And yet keep the sheep from, old door knocker sheep, from tearing the shit out of them. Rabbit cage. Shaded by a plum tree. Wall this side. That's an old water tank from the 1800s. That side, tree, and, all we got's a little gap through here, which is pretty much surrounded by boxthorn and trees and shit anyway. So yeah, and we've got a few in there. They're very little ones. I don't know if they're going to really make it. I lost one or two out there as well. They were the surviving ones from the front part there where I had a bunch die. Yeah, I'm making a few mistakes. But I will say this, at least I've actually got them to seedling size. And the spinach is going good, for the most part. There's a couple that have been eaten off, but a lot of the spinach, there is no butterfly attacking it because they're not brassicas. But these are, so the butterflies get into it. My mum's got a bunch of stuff that I had over there in bags. She decided to throw some out because it was quote unquote gone mouldy and all this sort of stuff. And she's pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to take it. And I've still got to swap around a few tools into different toolboxes and whatnot in the room with a fridge and pick up a couple of books. But she's pushing me to take all these clothes and well, it's not clothes, it's all blankets and shit. And I'm like, holy smoke, you got so much room in this house, but you're getting pedantic about this, and I still want to clean up a couple of things before I take all this stuff in. And furthermore, you've got plenty of room, and I've got not much at all, and I'm trying to focus on the gutters now, and I'll get these in the winter. And same with the flipping shirts I've got over there. We'll get them in the winter. No, she's got to push like hell for me to get them right now. And I'm like, what's it screwing her up? It's not, but she keeps hammering on about it. But I was going through some of the stuff. And some of it, there's a whole big bag there, big department store bag, that's all synthetics, really light stuff, like lace curtain style things and other fabric that's just like to be quite honest, it looks like mosquito netting. But, you know, of course, it's got an edging on it. Some of it is, you know, only large scarves, and others of it, you know, are bigger, double in the size of this concrete pad. And so I'm going to bring a whole heap of that stuff over at some point, and for the spring, I may have a go at doing a few lettuces or something, but either way, I'm going to bring that stuff over and use that to keep the caterpillars out, keep the white moths out. And I probably should have grabbed it before, because I was over there helping with the ram, and put it over this stuff. And that may happen before too long. Yeah. Anyway, I want to try and do this guttering now while it's not raining like shit. And I've just spent the last friggin' hour and a half pissing around on YouTube. So anyway, I've got to get back to doing all this guttering, and I might try and move those couple of books around and sort those things out sooner rather than later, and take a bit of the stuff that she wants me to take and plonk it in the tubs. I haven't cut the tops out of those tubs like I was gonna, because I realised that it's probably just better to put them in here. But as used to happen when we used to have the plaster wash over the hothouses at Boomeroo, the glass houses, the nursery, yeah, the little spinach in there is stalking up, which is something that they used to do when you had all the sort of plaster whitewash over the hothouses. So, yeah, it may all mean that I've got to raise stuff outside anyway in the spring, but I hope to try and get things a bit of a head start in here, but then I'm worried that they're going to sort of go stalky. And you can actually just replant them lower, and that is one trick of getting away with it. But if it's near the end of winter, you end up getting a lot of days where, well, it's sort of like where it is now, where you get no clouds at all, and it's super bright, but it's still cold. And with that, you get a lot of solar energy. And I was sort of wondering if it wouldn't be a stupid idea to actually run a friggin' grow light, because you can get LED ones. They're pretty bloody powerful, 131 watts, I think. But I know there's other ones that are fluoro grow lights that don't seem to take as much power. And you know, it all depends on the power you want to put out, you know, because they try and, inside when they grow these hydroponic drugs, they put them in real close together, and they have fans running there, and they have all this blooming, you know, heating gear and blow heaters and friggin' lights and all this shit all rammed in really tight, and they try and put as much light as they can in to get them to grow as good as they can, you know, and then they sort of, they get too hot because the lights are too close to them, and it can actually dry them out and kill them, you know, and stuff like that. And so now they're playing around with super high-powered LEDs because the halogens are drying them out too much and all this sort of crap. But if you don't want, you know, super fast drug growth, I think you can get fluoro lamps that don't take a lot of power that you could just use just to raise seedlings, so that you can have a lamp right near them and they won't go and sort of stalk right up high. And I could afford that sort of power, even if it's, you know, like 30 watts or whatever, just sort of to give them a bit of extra light during the day as the light's coming in, you know, on the panels, and basically it'll just come straight through the panels, straight onto the, onto the plants, and I'll keep them warm in here as opposed to have them out the front and then they get too cold and they won't germinate, you know. And I'm still thinking about the whole heating pad thing. You know, that could come in handy. Still throwing around a few ideas for spring germination, but a grow light may be one of them to help stop them stalking up, as they seem to want to try and do at the moment. Whoa! Ham and eggers. That's good. I might just take this down and silicon up that end and retouch up that other one around the other side. Oh. And maybe even continue on layering all this up with silicon at the top, with this still sitting on the ground. Oh, flaming hell. It looks like there's a spot or two where it might be a little bit low. Just there and just there. That's shocking it fit in so quickly though. Bit of a struggle, but groovy mints otherwise, groovy mints. Anyway, I better hurry up with all this crap if I've still got to cut the shitter pipe up and jam it in the bin. Bin's going to go out tomorrow. Flatten one battery on the damn angle grinder. And still got one in the angle grinder I can whack in the reciprocating saw. But we've got to keep moving because the sun is just fading away fast, as you can tell.